not allowed to swear, am
You're not allowed to swear,
I?
unfortunately.
No, not giving,
Sorry.
not
If
giving a
I've got a-
fiddly dee, not giving a fiddly dee.
Hello, and welcome to One at the Door, a House of Damnation podcast. And it's going to be a wild episode today because I'm with the king of pure Riz himself. It's Hugo Wilde.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
No worries. I know, obviously, we've done the launch episode together already, but I thought it's about time that we got to spotlight you on One at the Door. So,
My favourite subject to talk about.
same, babes, don't worry. So I want to start off by asking, how did you get started in drag?
Well, really, because of you and Roxy and what's the other one called? Oh yeah, Evelyn Carnett.
that one,
that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're all amazing friends, and I saw you doing your drag and enjoying that performance, watching you develop as performers, and I was like, do you know, that looks a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put girl makeup on, and that's not me. And then I found out about Drag Kings, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds like something I would be interested in."
And here you are.
And here I am. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of based on Beauty and the Beast. So the Beast out of Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
So that kind of like beast within that's kind of I've hidden my whole life, the kind of masculine side of me, and felt shame about. So hence the horns. Horns will always be part of Hugo. And so I kind of played with what that might look like, the sound I might have, watched some great tutorials from other drag kings like Adam All and other really great drag kings, and took some inspiration from then, and then I've just kind of developed
Into Hugo Wilde.
into Hugo Wilde.
Love it. You talked a bit about Adam All. Would you say that's like kind of one drag king that has inspired your drag?
Yeah, I think I really like what Adam All has to say about masculinity
Yeah.
and about how masculinity is often seen as a toxic thing, and that it doesn't have to be, and that actually probably everybody has a bit of the masculine and feminine in them,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that often we're made to feel shame if that's the other gender from the gender, the sex we're assigned at birth. So for me, I was never never girly enough, never ladylike, etc., etc. Absolutely right. Here I am.
And we're happy for it. Or happier for it, I should say.
Yeah, and so I just love kind of being me, and also kind of sharing messages of how strength is a positive thing, and having confidence and being outspoken is also a great thing to be, whether you're assigned female at birth or male at birth. But also kind of messages around consent and all of that, which is really important, because there is toxic masculinity, and it can be really
totally.
damaging for men and for women,
Yeah.
and for the non-binary people.
Yep.
So it's about kind of exploring all of that, but in a playful way.
So your Instagram mentions that you explore gender and masculinity through your performance. So can you talk a little bit about that and how it kind of appears on stage?
Yeah, so I have a music degree, and performance was my main, and it was very kind of classical English art song, very like and so Hugo's a whole different voice I didn't even know I had, and it's been a lot of fun finding his voice and his rasp and his growl, and kind of bringing that out. And in my performance, it's about I'm kind of a bit of a crooner. I'll kind of sing Fever and romance the ladies, and
We love the classics.
but I'll also have a bit of fun. So tonight I'm performing and starting with Monster. Right,
Fab.
so that will be a good starter, hopefully. But then also doing stuff from kind of musicals and things. So a really kind of wild mix of music, but
Love
but stuff that speaks to me in some way. So I pretty much will probably always do Evermore from Beauty and the Beast. It's that kind of like kind of always feeling a little bit kind of closed off and away from people, and kind of protective of myself, and then allowing people in. So Evermore's a special song for that reason. But performance wise, I need to learn some new moves. I need some help. Hugo's dancing is very much dad dancing.
Yeah, well, I can't teach you how to do a death drop because I can't do that. But we'll figure something out, I'm sure. So obviously you've been doing drag for a little while now, probably a year, is it?
I first went and bought my drag makeup on my 50th birthday with my daughter. I didn't do makeup before drag.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that is coming up for 2 years. I'm an old king.
Old crooner.
Yeah. And so, yeah, there was a period of time where there was stuff going on, lost my confidence a bit. And I think when you're doing drag, you will know that if you're not in the right place, that can be really tough to kind of open yourself up and kind of be more vulnerable with yourself. So, put your head above the line, as it were. So there's a little period of time where I didn't really feel very Hugo. But yeah, he's back with a vengeance.
And do you throughout the time of doing drag? Because I have myself. There's been times where it's become drag is stressful. It is, but we all love it and we continue to do it because it's so amazing. But has there been any times for you where you've gone, maybe I should just stop, and then you've continued on? And what's made you continue on, if that's the case?
Yes. I'm very aware they're sat at the back. But when I first performed and I was trying to get more into the character, and he is a cheeky chappy and he is going to flirt and things, and my kids saw me and were like, "What are you doing? It's so embarrassing." I think they've kind of learned to just go with it because they know if they don't, I'm going to thoroughly embarrass them if they're in the audience. So there was a bit of is this just too much and just too embarrassing for them? But they're probably my biggest supporters now. And then other times, like I say, if you're going through a rough time and you're trying to stand up on stage with confidence, it's
incredibly hard, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then when my beard's not looking quite as on point.
It is looking great today. I'll give you that.
New techniques since I started. Actually, it's interesting how you learn different techniques as you go through.
Do. You never stop developing. I think. And I think even good old mother Roxy Moron would. She's gonna kill me for calling her mother. But yeah, she's always said the same as well. That you never stop developing your drag.
No.
And even with how polished she is, you do. It's
an
it's a learning experience.
Incredible performer and so gracious and with her advice. But yeah, one of the things she said to me was, "Don't wait until you think you're ready. Just do it because you're going to get better. And however good you are when you start, you're going to look back and think, what was I doing?" So yeah, gone is the stuck-on beard. I now have my own hair stuck to my face.
Amazing. See, this is the difference between drag kings and drag queens.
Drag queens trying to get rid of the hair. I'm just sticking bits
on. At least drag queens can keep their beard. They don't have to, stick it on and stuff. So the extra process for you is an interesting one. At least.
It's I realised I needed to find a new technique when I was in drag for the day down at an event and ended up with my beard falling to the floor.
Oh no!
I was like, that's not going to work when I'm on stage singing and
it's
performing.
It's like when a drag queen loses her wig.
Yeah, it's very much the same thing. So I did some research on other ways to do beards. I'm not a massive fan unless it's the really graphic ones. I'm not a massive fan on the kind of Sharpie pen.
Fair.
So I found a new way, which it's always interesting when I go to the barbers now. I'm like, can I save some hair, please?
Might have to get a Hugo Welt beard tutorial at some point.
Yeah.
Get that going. So how much of Hugo is performance and how much of that Hugo is you?
That's a really interesting question because I think it changes on different days, but I think Hugo is me that I would love to be all the time, with that confidence.
Yeah.
And I'm just not allowed to swear, am I?
You're not allowed to swear, unfortunately.
No, not giving.
Sorry.
Not giving a fiddly D. Not giving a fiddly D. How I come across. You were saying drag stressful. Sometimes getting ready, if it's not quite working, is stressful. But actually on stage, I don't know why, but I don't particularly get stressed or nervous. Whereas when I'm performing out of drag, I'm like the one that's puking before the performance.
Yeah.
But I think it's just fun, and Hugo just doesn't really care. He's just
Yeah.
there to have a good time. He's
I
like a
totally
good
agree with
fun
that,
guy,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's so funny how that it's you're the same person at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like, in the same body, I suppose. But yeah, because I don't know. I sometimes explain that like object it for me is like more than anyone ever gets to see of myself as Elliot. And I think that some people develop a character, I think, through drag, but I think there's also the other side of that in that it's a chance to just completely let go of life's worries and enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
And the stage allows for that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because it is more me, but then in other ways he's less me because he doesn't show like the vulnerable side of Annie. He's the shield. He's like the confident external that people who don't know me really well might think is what I'm quite often like as Annie, but people who actually know me as Annie will go,
I think that's the thing. Yeah, that's the other thing, isn't it? I suppose like there's some people like your audiences and things like that that only see you when you're in drag, but then you've got the other side, that like family, friends, and things that know both you and you as Hugo. And I think that's an incredible difference between the two. So, what's the most exciting or unexpected reaction that you've had from an audience?
Last time I performed, I was finishing up with another one of my trademark songs, which is Wild Thing.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, I just clocked someone in the audience. I thought, I think they're going to be fun, so I kind of went towards them and was doing a bit of Hugo with them, and they were kind of swooning. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I did enjoy that. Yeah, I like those reactions. Presenting a rose to one of the ladies in the audience is always my favourite.
I feel like if I see you without a rose now, I don't feel like Hugo's in the room. I'm not gonna lie. It's like become your trademark almost.
Yeah,
I do love it. So when you talk about masculinity through your drag, do you feel like that changes people's perception of like gender norms and things like that?
Yeah, I hope so, because we live in a society that can be incredibly binary. And tries to put people in boxes all the time, and then anyone who tries to come out of that box is kind of vilified in some way. Actually, there's a great drag king called King Key. Fantastic name. And actually on his feed today, there was something about this, about people like being put in boxes, and it's a way of society just not having to worry about kind of compassion and imagination, because it just makes everything very easy. And so I think by exploring that gender and that masculinity, I'm just trying to just push that. Oh, that's
just open people's minds a little
and when I do my makeup, I don't want it to be the perfect kind of are they male?
Ultra chiseled.
I want it to be obvious that I'm not assigned male at birth.
Yeah.
So that the message I give is something more than that. Although interestingly, on the way home the other week, we're in a certain famous fast food joint, and somebody took my order, tried to take my order, and I was like doing what I would normally do when not in drag, and was like, "Oh, I'll fight you for it." And then saw this person's boyfriend get like, I was like, "Whoa, not really." So it is interesting how you're read differently, like how you present in your kind of appearance. Is different actions can be read really differently.
Yeah.
Whereas one would have been like a cheeky joke,
yeah,
and the other was seen as a threat to some poor woman who was just getting her hamburgers.
It's funny though that if you compare that between like drag kings and drag queens, I think I don't know, it's maybe like guys immediately square up to defend people because you present as male, and then almost like with drag queens, they either I don't know, just get like weirded out by it, or they try and have fun with you. Like
I think
you've got to like be really quick with it, like, and be quick-witted to be like, come back.
I've definitely had men. That's another surprising reaction, actually. I've definitely had men kind of almost front up to me and try and outmask me to make some point.
No way.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is not necessary. Wow. I've never seen people do that with a drag queen. Like you say, they're either weirded out because they find you very attractive and they're confused by that, or they're just going to go along with it. They're far more secure in themselves, and they kind of go along and have a laugh. And then you'll get people who will like try and put you down. But I've never seen anyone try and like outmask a drag queen.
Yeah.
'cause that would be weird. But
No,
yeah,
exactly. That's
I've-
the thing, isn't it? It's like, yeah. Are there any other challenges that you face as a drag king?
I think people on the whole and like the general public just don't know what a drag king is. They've seen queens on TV in various different things, obviously a very famous series, but other times as well. And then we've got like a really good history of basically drag queens and pantomime dames and things. But no one's really aware of drag kings, which is really interesting because when I was researching that bit, drag kings kind of came before drag queens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then because you had women stepping outside of the gender norm, patriarchy kicked in. No.
Oh, okay.
And they were kind of like shut down, and all of drag was shut down. And then kind of men were in a position where they could then kind of revive that, whereas females weren't. So often you're fighting against people not really understanding what a drag king is.
Yeah.
And the kind of natural is to go and book a queen.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And so, yeah, getting bookings can be tricky.
Yeah.
Being taken seriously as a performer, I think, can be tricky because no one's really sure what they're getting when they book a drag king yet.
Yeah.
There are drag kings out there, but not so many. I feel like in Cornwall, there's what House of Domination are doing, where you've got socials and you're bringing people, I think, is really powerful because even for those queens who haven't really come across kings or don't really know what we do, I think it's really good for them to see that, and then hopefully they will start championing all kinds of monarchs, kings, things, queens.
So my last question for you is, as Hugo, is what is your...
You want a date, don't you?
Pardon?
You want a date, don't you?
A date? Oh, well...
Oh, that's what you're asking me.
Well, if you're on a date... Can't fool me, babes. What performance are you most proud of so far, and why?
So we performed up in the wilds of nowhere near the sky just before Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was my first 45-minute set, so that was cool.
Oh, amazing.
Did a real range of stuff, but also kind of felt able to go down in the audience and have fun with them. So
That's always really fun, isn't it?
I remember actually being halfway through and going, I'm doing this, I'm actually doing it. There's this really weird out of body experience of like, I'm actually doing this, I'm standing up on stage and singing this stuff. And just having this like massive feeling of kind of confidence. The audience were incredible, like clapping along and cheering. So yeah, that was a lush moment.
As Hugo, you're one of the only drag kings that I know of anyway, in Cornwall. So what is it like to kind of carve out space for that in the Cornish landscape?
There are a couple more around, but it is quite lonely. I think you kind of have to find your sisters in the drag queen world and your monarchs. But in terms of kind of trying to learn more about masculinizing the face contouring or kind of performance tricks, it is about reaching out to people that are kind of more worldwide. And trying to learn from them. I think it would be great to see more kings.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
then again, it's already hard enough to get bookings, so maybe I don't want to see. I can be king being among all these queens. So gorgeous. If you want to see more of me, I believe they're putting something up here to tell you what to find. You know what you need to do.
I just like tried to wink and I blinked both my eyes.
Yeah, that's the problem. We need to be able to do that. How you do it? Wink. It's not there, is it?
You know what? When I have this much makeup on, I feel like I've had Botox. What is coming up next in terms of events for Hugo?
Exciting. All 4 directors of House of Domination are going to be at a quiz and cabaret musical themed in Liskeard.
I know. I'm so excited.
That's going to be amazing. I almost forgot. Dark Fate Cabaret at Cornish Bank on the 27th of May from 8 o'clock, Wild and Spellbound. So that is definitely going to be a night that you need to be there. Come and be enticed.
And that's with Aria Spellbound.
That is with the incredible Aria Spellbound.
Sounds exciting.
So, Object, I brought a few friends up on stage just to prove that drag isn't only for the assigned male at birth people. We have
Aria Spellbound,
King Victor Sponge,
Pierre Lachaise,
and myself, Hugo Wild, and together we are Dragged to the Barbers.
She done got a lot to say, but there's something about her. And you don't know why, but you're dying to try. You wanna kiss the girl,
Kiss the girl, oh yeah.
yes, you want her. Look at her, you know you do. Yes, you do. Possible she wants you to. There is one way to ask her.
Just ask her.
It don't take a word, but a single word. Go on and kiss the girl.
Sing with me now. Sha la
La la la la, but oh my, look like they're too shy. Ain't gonna kiss the girl.
Sha la 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 la.
Ain't that sad? It ain't a shame. Too bad. Ain't gonna miss the girl. Miss the girl. Now do you know her? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you better do it soon. No time will be better. She don't say a word, and she won't say a word until you kiss the girl.
Kiss the girl.
Sha la 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 la, don't be sad. You got to be prepared. Go on and kiss the girl. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sha la 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 la, don't stop now. Don't try to hide it. How we gonna kiss the girl? Whoa, whoa. Sha la 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 la, float along. Whoa, 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 whoa. Kiss the girl. Sha la 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 la, music play to what the music say. You're gonna kiss the girl. You got to 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 kiss the girl. Go on and kiss the girl.
Well, thank you so much for serenading me, Hugo.
It's a pleasure as always, darling.
And thank you all for joining Hugo on stage as well. The Drag to the Barbers are phenomenal. You've been watching One at the Door. And remember, there's always room for one more in the next podcast. Bye.
Never know how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever.